So, what does it mean to have a connection with your horse? And how do you get the best connection? To me, having a connection with your horse means that you are with your horse. You feel your horse, you're in the present, and you are adjusting what needs to be done at the time from what you're feeling. And that comes from a state of calmness and groundedness. You have to be in your body, I think, in order to get a good connection with your horse. And this goes for groundwork and also riding. To me, groundwork is very important, and it is a good way to lay your foundation of your communication in language between you and your horse. And that also flows into your riding, and when you have a good connection and a good bond with your horse, the trust between the two of you gets stronger and stronger. Another key for developing a good connection between you and your horse is that you have to feel each individual horse. You can't just follow a certain method and do each horse the same way with the same energy. You really have to get in touch with what you're feeling from that horse. If I were to do this mare the same way that I do my gelding, it would be way too much for her. And she can be overreactive at times, but she's gotten way better because we have a better connection. When I first started working with her, we didn't have a connection. She didn't know me, I didn't know her, and I've had to fine-tune the way that I ask her to do things, and I have to really pay attention to what I'm feeling from her. And I've found with her and lunging that little movement is best, and asking her in a soft, gentle way. And for a long time with the lope, she was afraid of the kissing sound and would overreact and freak out when I would ask her to lope and kiss. And for a long time I had to just say the word, and I used the word canter, and I had to say it calm and easy and slow, and she would just go right into it. And over time, because we've developed a better connection and trust between the two of us, she's learned to relax a little bit more, and now I can even kiss to her to make her lope, and she's gotten a lot lazier with everything that we do. I still have to watch how I do things with her, but not like I used to. If you've seen any of my other videos where I talk about how I'm a personal fitness trainer, and I have been for 33 years, I'm going to use an example of lifting weights that might help you to put it in perspective. You can take a 5-pound dumbbell, and if you're lifting it with 20-pound force, you're not going to have a good connection. You're not going to have a good feel. You're actually going past the weight of the dumbbell because you're not feeling what the dumbbell is. Now, if you stop and you hold that dumbbell and you feel the weight of that dumbbell and give it enough force just to make that dumbbell move, then you're going to be connected and you're going to flow with that dumbbell. You're going to be one with the dumbbell. And that's kind of the feeling that you want to have with your horse. So it's not just about doing a certain method and going through certain steps. You have to have that feel too. And some people say you can't teach feel, but I think you can. I think anybody can learn feel. So if you take a 10-pound dumbbell and you put it in your hand and you feel what that feels like and then move it accordingly, you're going to have that connection. Those scenarios would be what I would say it's like for a sensitive horse like this. You have a horse that's 5 pounds and you're giving it 20 pounds of assertiveness. It's going to be way, way, way too much, right? You're not going to have that connection with the horse. And same goes for the opposite. Like my gelding is a lazier horse. I need to apply more assertiveness towards him sometimes because he's so lazy. And I don't have to be careful the way that I ask him to do things. He's lazier and can be more resistant. So that would be like having a 50-pound dumbbell, 50-pound dumbbell, and you're trying to make him move with only 5 pounds of assertiveness. It's not going to happen. So you need to learn to increase your assertiveness to be able to make him move his feet and get that connection. The whole thing is about feel, what you're feeling from that horse. Is that horse nervous? Is it skittish? Is it overreactive? Or is it, on the other hand, is it lazy, resistant, doesn't want to move his feet? You know, what are you feeling from your horse? That's the main thing you want to establish and diagnose in the beginning of your session, especially when you have a new horse. You can't just jump in and not pay attention to what you're feeling from your horse and expect to get a really good connection. I think with some horses that takes time. With some people it takes time. I like to take my time with horses and really learn what they're feeling and what I'm feeling from them. And I think the feel comes from a quiet mind. You can't have chatter going on inside your mind and expect to be in the present and feel what's really going on. So when you go out to work with your horse, whether it's lunging or riding, you want to make sure that you're in a good state of mind, because if you're in a good state of mind, which is calm and grounded, you're going to be able to feel your horse better and know what to do at any given time. You know, anybody can get a horse's feet to move. You can go out there and just go through motions and get your horse's feet to move, just like in the gym. Anybody can go to the gym and work out and go through a motion and not put a lot of effort or feeling or thought into what they're doing. They're just moving a weight, thinking of other things while they're lifting weights, not really being in the present. And to me, I always just call that just going through the motions. You can do the same with horses too. Your mind can be someplace else, and anybody can go out there and get a horse's feet to move, and it's really not about that. As Chris Cox said one time that I really, really liked, it's like it takes a true horseman to get a hold of the horse's mind. And to me, that's what it's all about. It's not about just making your horse do certain things. It's about really trying to understand what your horse is thinking, what your horse is feeling, why he's doing or why she's doing certain things. You know, I like to look at those things, because if you really take the time to look at those things and understand, I think you can overcome a lot of things. And once you start to really pay attention to that and feel what's going on with your horse and adjust according to what you're feeling, then the trust between the two of you becomes deeper and stronger. And I just think you get a lot more out of your sessions doing that. And another thing that I heard Chris Cox say in one of his last TV shows a week or two ago, this girl had brought her horse to Chris Cox's ranch, and Chris got on her horse and rode her a little bit and said, "This horse is overreactive. The slightest little thing I do, she overreacts. And she's really a sensitive mare, but because she's so sensitive, she's protected herself by being stiff." And he had said that the overreactiveness came from bad feel. So just like I was talking about earlier, that the feel comes from paying attention to what you're doing, how you're doing it, what the tone of your voice is, your body language, and different things like that. So Chris was saying that this girl had bad feel and that she needed to improve her feel to get her horse to relax more. So that might be something to think about if you have a horse that's overreactive. How is your feel? Are you giving 20 pounds of pressure to a horse that can only take 5 pounds of pressure? This could be something that you're doing. It could be something that was created before you got the horse. Either way, you just have to pay attention to how you're doing things. So whether it's happened in the past, you can help undo that, or if it's just because of you and it's a new horse and you're a new owner and you don't have a connection yet with your horse. Either way, you just have to pay attention to what you're feeling from your horse and really pay attention to your energy and how you're asking your horse to do things, how your movement is around your horse. A lot of times with the horse, it's sensitive. It's good to move a little bit slower, be really cautious of your movements, not to the point where you're being cautious, sneaky cautious, because sometimes being sneaky scares a horse too. Just being aware of how you do things, how you talk to your horse, how you ask it to do things, and really be aware of what you're doing and how that horse responds to what you're doing. So again, this is 2018. This is how she lopes off when I ask her now. And that's if I'm working with her consistently. She's gotten so much better because our connection has gotten better. I know her better now. In the beginning, I didn't. She was just so sensitive, and I've had to adjust. And she's taught me a lot about, backing off pressure a little bit. And she's just gotten so much better. But if I don't work with her consistently, she'll kind of revert back a little bit. And it's probably more me just trying to get a feel for her again, because she's so different than my other horses as far as her sensitivity and how I have to do things. So when we've been away from each other and not working consistently on the lunging, we just don't have our connection as strong as what it is when we're working on a consistent basis. So it usually takes a couple times or so to kind of get that back and reestablish our connection and our bond. Our connection now compared to when we first started working together is way better. I'm so proud of her and us and how far we've come. And we couldn't have gotten the connection that we have today if it wasn't for feel. And like I said earlier, feel comes from being in the present, which comes from being grounded and being in your body. Horses live in the present, and if we aren't in the present because we have something else on our mind or an agenda, or if we have certain goals that we want to accomplish and we go too fast with those goals past their learning capabilities or past where they are, then there's going to be a disconnect. That's back to the example of the 5-pound dumbbell and the horse being the 5-pound dumbbell, and we have all these goals and things that we want to accomplish, and we're putting 20 pounds of force for the 5-pound dumbbell. It's like you're not being in the present. You have to be in the present. You have to feel the weight of the horse, just like you would feel the weight of the dumbbell. 5 pounds is 5 pounds. In order to make that move, you have to give it just a little bit more than 5 pounds of force to make it move. And you can chip away at your goals that way. You don't have to do your goals all at once because, like I said, if your horse is 5 pounds and you have 20 pounds of goals, and you're trying to get all those done at once and your horse isn't ready for that, you're going to have a disconnect. To me, it's all about baby steps. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. Like I said, if you have a 5-pound weight, you only need to give it just a little bit more force than 5 pounds in order to make it move. One side has to have a little bit more force in order to make it move. You don't have to overpower something to get results. It just takes just a little bit of force. So it just takes a little bit of stepping out of the comfort zone. And that's what it takes to move a weight, is just stepping out of your comfort zone just a little bit more to make that move. You don't have to step out of your comfort zone a lot. It's just the fact that you've gotten out of your comfort zone. And that's really all it takes. One time you step out of your comfort zone just a little bit, then you go back to your comfort zone. Next time you step out of your comfort zone, you go just a little bit more. And then you step back to your comfort zone. You don't have to go 100 miles out of your comfort zone in order to learn something. All you have to do is just do 1 or 2 steps out of your comfort zone and then go back to your comfort zone. And it's like, I think that's the way it works for people as far as being a fitness trainer, and it also, I think, works that way with horses too. You don't have to step 100 miles out of your comfort zone. So if I get a client that has never lifted 100 pounds, all they've ever done is 20 pounds, and all of a sudden one day I said, okay, we're going to do 100 pounds, they're not going to be able to do it. They're going to be scared. They're probably going to hurt themselves, and it's just not the thing to do. You have to create little goals along the way in order to get there. So if they're used to lifting 20 pounds, the next time you might shoot for 22 pounds or 25 pounds. And then you go back to your comfort zone. Maybe the next week you do 27 pounds or 30 pounds, depending on where that person is and what they're feeling. And each time you just try to do a little bit more. Eventually the body will adapt and get used to the heavier weight. And if you take baby steps and do it over a period of time, I think it happens a lot faster than trying to force it too soon. Because when you try to force it too soon, you risk injury, you risk fear, you risk losing the trust between you and your client or you and your horse. And it's our job to keep them safe. Whether it's a fitness client or whether it's a horse, it's our job to feel and to diagnose where they are, what you're feeling from them, what they can do, and leading them forward in a safe manner. To me, that is going out of your comfort zone a little bit at a time. And the only thing that makes us want to do it faster than that is impatience. Being impatient, wanting to really reach your goals right now. That's society today. We want it right now. And a lot of times that creates a disconnect because you're not really feeling what's going on. You're kind of being selfish in a way and saying, these are the goals that I want, and I want them right now, and this is what we're going to do. You don't take into consideration the feelings that you're feeling from your horse. So it really comes down to patience. You have to have patience and take those baby steps. Do a little bit at a time. Give your horse time to adjust to going out of its comfort zone. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a whole lot in order to get results. And in the end, I think that's actually the faster way to get there with the least amount of problems. If you really just take your time, and if your horse isn't getting something, stop, slow down, back up. You know, you ever hear that saying, 3 steps forward, 2 steps backwards? Sometimes that's what it's like. You take 3 steps forward, 2 steps backwards. You know, if they're not getting something, you have to kind of back up. Because I don't think horses are bad on purpose. I think they probably just don't understand what you're trying to get them to do. And if you have the patience and you don't really have an agenda, I think you can have goals, but sometimes you have to let that go and feel your horse and really give your horse what it needs and let go of your goals at that moment. You're going to get there. It just takes time and patience, and really when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it's really about your horse's feelings and really giving them what they need, going at their pace. It's not always about our pace. It's about their pace and what they can take, what they can tolerate, what they understand, what they're getting a grasp of, what they aren't getting a grasp of. If we slow our human minds down enough to understand that, that is the beginning of getting a great connection with your horse and also developing trust with your horse. Because if you take the time to understand what they're feeling and what they might be understanding or not understanding, they start to trust you because they realize that their best interest is what you care about. If you're always trying to rush things and go past where they are or what they understand, and you're doing too much and they're not getting it, you can start to create fear in them and distrust. But if you take your time with them and slow things down and go at their pace instead of your pace, you're going to start to develop that trust. You're going to get a really good connection with your horse. Because horses live in the present, we need to learn to get in the present ourselves. And when we're in the present and they're in the present, that's what opens up that door to that connection, the connection between you and your horse. And you can only open that door by having a relaxed mind, a calm mind, and by being in the present. So this is just something for you to maybe think about the next time you work with your horse, whether you're a beginner or have had horses for a long time. The things that I've talked about in this video may help somebody that is a new horse owner, or maybe even somebody that is used to a certain kind of energy of horse and they got a new horse with a totally different energy than they're used to, as in my case here with this mare. I've never had a horse that was this sensitive or that was overreactive, so If you're used to having a certain type of horse and you get a new horse and you're having problems with it, this video might be able to help you a little bit and give you some things to think about. You know, am I being too forceful in the way that I say things? Am I trying to rush things too much? Am I being sensitive enough? Are my body movements too big? Do I need to tone down my body movements? Then on the other hand, do you have a horse that you need to make your movements bigger? Do you need to exaggerate your movements? Sometimes when horses are first learning, it helps to exaggerate your movements. Or you might need to apply more assertiveness to a horse that's lazier. So these are just some things to look at. You know, what kind of horse are you working with? Is it a more nervous horse? A horse with energy? You're going to have to tone things down. If it's a horse that's lazier, that gets stuck, has sticky feet, resistant, you're going to have to maybe make your movements bigger, apply more assertiveness. You know, so what kind of energy does your horse have? That's the first thing I think you need to look at. That's the first thing you need to feel. What are you feeling from your horse? And once you've diagnosed that and know what you're feeling and what you're dealing with, I think just by doing that brings you to the present, because when you're aware of what's in your surroundings, you're aware of what's in your space, what's going on, that does bring you to the present moment. And like I said earlier, horses live in the present. If you're in the present, that's what opens the door to your connection. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe so you don't miss any future videos or live videos. I've been doing a lot of live videos and answer questions and just hang out and talk about horse things. So make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell icon so you get notified when I make a new video or when I'm doing a live video. Thank you guys again. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.